Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another week of Tech Talk. We've got a special guest here today, but I'm going to hand it over to Mike, who's going to introduce our special guest.
We have, and if you haven't noticed by the hats, we've got Dale from Spec Floors joining us today. So I figure, actually, I better put my hat on.
Oh, there we go. Everybody has a hat.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Only the cool kids. Only the cool kids.
Yeah. One day I'll get there. One day.
But from time to time, we do like to have guests on and get some feedback and hone in on some people. I use the word hone there, to hone in on some people and see how they go about things. So yes, welcome, Dale. Nice to have you, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Thanks, gents. G'day, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here and be involved.
I look after Dale quite a bit, and I know he's got definitely some valuable stuff he can share with us. So I'll hand over to you guys to fire away on a few questions.
Dale, this is the second time we've had Spec Floors on Tech Talk.
Yeah, that's right.
This is the first time you've been on Tech Talk.
Yeah, my first time. The old boy Crago, he's been on here before, having a bit of a chat. Yeah, I suppose that was when he owned Spec Floors, and now I've taken Spec Floors off him. So I guess it's my turn to get there eventually. Yeah.
Oh, thanks for joining us. I just wanted to, hone in on that second generation. Now, for all those who don't know, you and your dad, Craig, both used to work together in Spec Floors a number of years ago. You took some time out of the business. You went and did something else. Recently, you've come back and you've bought the business. And I'd like to know a little bit about the difference between Spec Floors back in the early days. I know what you went out and did and how things are different today in the market.
Thanks, Josh. Yeah, that's right. I started working for Dad straight out of high school, actually. So I started with him in 2010 and then worked with him up until sort of mid-15. And that's when I went off and joined the Army. So yeah, I went to Canberra, did my officer training for 18 months at RMC Duntroon. Posted around the country a little bit since then, mainly working in sort of that tactical level logistic. And then, yeah, the opportunity sort of came up that Dad was looking to retire and get out of the business. So January 1 this year, I actually bought the business off Dad and took over and have sort of been running it since. You know, Dad's still in and out of the business a fair bit. He still gives me a hand when I get busy, which is most of the time, to be honest. So yeah, it's really nice to have him around, and he's a really good coach and mentor to me as well. And I'm really thankful to have had this opportunity to sort of come and do the business. And you know, the differences now to back when I first started doing it, you know, the tooling's a lot better. I'll say that. The whole process is a lot more refined. You know, we're a lot quicker at doing it. The machines punch out more power. The tools under them, they really work. The chemicals are just that bit more refined. You know, it's all sort of, probably a lot more structured. A lot of the time back then, we were just sort of trying to figure out how to do it a lot of the time. And now we're really sort of, I wouldn't say it's an exact science. There's still an art process to it. But yeah, there's definitely a lot more structure and guidelines around it that we can follow. I'd say as well, like we've really branched out with some of the finishes that we can do. So before we were we're primarily a residential company, you know, like that's what we're doing most of the time. We do a bit of commercial work as well, but we were just doing floor houses inside, and that was pretty much most of what we were doing. But now, you know, we've got the pavilion finish using the Penex outside areas, so we can do like low slip options as well, which has generated so much more work for us as well. You know, we're starting to crack into some pull surrounds and acid etching. We're doing very different types of floors inside too, you know, full exposure, partial exposure, burnished or zero exposures, high gloss, low gloss in between. You know, we're sort of really able to tailor what we can do to the client instead of saying, right, you're having polished concrete, this is what we're doing. Lucky for me, when I did come into Spec Floors in 2010, we were sort of stepping on the back end of all the polyurethanes. So that's where we had originally started. We used to install a product called Tough Coat, and I maybe still have some on the shelf because you can't get it anymore. But yeah, I was lucky. I've done a little bit of polyurethane work as well, but high gloss polyurethanes are a real thing. You guys know.
Are they coming back?
Yeah, they're not coming back. Yeah, does that sort of answer the questions there, Josh?
Yeah, absolutely.
I've got a question for you, Dale. It's a bit of a two-parter. First one, who was more of a drill sergeant? Your dad or your actual drill sergeant?
I would say my wife.
We are recording.
Yeah. So he actually is the sergeant in the army. She's number one, and Dad's got a military background as well, so he's probably number two there. The drill sergeants in the army were actually much nicer to me.
So my second question was going to be, so Spec Floors already a really established and well-known business. What was any sort of challenges that you came into with taking over an existing and very well-established business?
I guess the big thing for me was I had no idea how much stuff Dad was doing in the background, to be honest. All the sales work, the quotes, all the accounting and bookkeeping and stuff. Like, that's been a huge challenge for me to get my head around. Lucky in the army as an officer, I was quite admin based, so I was relatively conversant with using computers and tech and that sort of stuff, but then just sort of trying to switch those systems over to what I'm doing now. I'm using Xero and just sort of understanding that. And then additionally to that, it's the personal investment. Before it was a job that I worked really hard at. Now it's my livelihood. It's my life. It's what I really, really rely on. So everything seems a lot more personal now, and you have your ups and you have your downs, and really not letting the downs get to you.
Thank you.
You mentioned some of the skills that you are using in Spec Floors that you gained in your time in the army. Is there anything else that you are using? Is it your negotiations much stronger, or what is it? Are people paying on time? Like what?
The Army Combatives training has been really helpful for trying to get access to sites sometimes, getting other trades out of the way. No, I'm joking.
This is what I'm looking for. This is it.
Yeah. No, some of the training that I went through, it's quite arduous, both mentally and physically. And you take those really hard days that you've had and you apply it to what you're doing now, and it sort of gives you the resilience to get through those difficult days, both in a physical and mental sort of perspective. Some days you've got a lot to do. Today I've got a lot of face edges to grind and a lot of handwork to do, and it's not the worst thing I've ever had to do, so I'll be able to get through it.
Very good.
So would you recommend army training for everyone who wants to get into the grinding and polishing industry then?
I'm not sure it's totally relevant. I definitely think that I was able to build like a really good baseline of discipline and understanding of society as well. I got to interact with a lot of different people, and I'm really, really honored with some of the people that I got to work with. And I got to learn a lot from these people, and sort of take that through to what I'm doing now, and sort of like really develop myself as a leader and as a part of a team. And I think if I had have stayed in Spec Floors, if I hadn't have left and joined the army, I wouldn't have had the skill set to do what I'm doing now. I really needed to go out and sort of round myself off as a human, before I could really come back and really put myself on the line as a small business owner, and trying to, support my family and do the best job I can for people, like that. The discipline and integrity is really, really important. And those are two values that have been really instilled into me that really helps me now.
I know dealing with you all the time, mate, and I know you've got a real passion for what you do. And so what's one of your favourite sort of setups on a machine when it comes to grinding? What's some of your tool selections? Quite often when I talk to you, you said, I was doing this the other day and I loved it. And so what's something where you really feel like you're humming along and you like doing?
Lots. I think to start the answer to that, when we used to do it, this was your set of tools, and that's what you put on the machine. They were all the same grit, they were all the same bond. They were either singles or doubles, and that was it. Now, go to the toolbox, pick some stuff out, grab some different colors, make it look pretty under there. Like, it's lovely, and give it a crack and see what works. So, I've had some really good success recently with the GRTs. So that sort of 160, 180 diamond, and the 120, 140, and the soft and medium and triple and double, getting those under the machine, they run really nice. And I've had some really good success recently with that transition, because they're leaving a really nice scratch pattern going through to a SP50. I've also had some good success in 3040s under some very hard concrete with a lot of old stuff on top. Singles, so full set of singles, soft medium combo 3040s from work. Yeah, in the rocks. They're it's all combos. Everything's combo. Don't run everything the same. You got to mix it up. You got to get some different colors going under the machine, make it look great.
And speaking of machinery, mate? What machines are you running?
Yeah, so I've got a big block 820 RC. That's the big girl that punches out all the meters. And if I can fit it in somewhere, then that's what I'm taking. She's coupled up with a 55T, Margaret. She's a good girl. She's definitely just performs, man. She just punches dust bags through like it's nothing. Pair that up with a separator and you're not even stopping. So that's grouse. And then you guys actually have my 680 at the moment. So I've got a 680 RC that's down. She's getting a big block footer on her at the moment. So really keen to get that back and sort of see that increase in production for those second stage jobs, because that's really what she's for. And then I get a few comments on Instagram sometimes. I've got an old Husky 3300, but on the top of it, I've got a pulse back from work. So she's a bit of an interesting looking piece of kit, but it's super reliable. It's just easy to move around. Like I can actually lift it on and off the truck by myself.
So you got really good gear. It sounds like you're really productive. Sounds like you got a couple of days up your sleeve each week, how productive you are. What do you do during those spare moments? Like, do you go fishing, or what do you like to do?
I would probably say I'm mountain biking obsessed. So I've been out this morning already on the mountain bike, and I've recently converted to an e-bike, so please don't judge me too hard for that. But yeah, and then just time with the family as well. You know, I've got 2 little daughters. They're 3 and 6 months old, so just trying to spend some time with them, and that's one of the main reasons why I'm here, you know.
Unreal.
Oh, the next thing that I've got, just to add to the power, we've got an old 80 kVA generator that we've had since I was in school. I got it behind me right now, actually, and she's tweaked up a little bit and running that extra bit of juice to the big block 820, so it makes her sing. So that makes a big difference as well. I got 2 Jennies, and you can tell when you're running the big girl, yeah.
Giving away all your secrets. I like it.
Yeah, there's no secrets in the game. There's no secrets. And that's another thing that I love about the industry now too. It's such a collegiate environment, you know, like even the guys that are in the same area as me, like I talk to them all the time, and we got to help each other out, man. And like I see like that's what you guys are doing heaps too. And that's what heaps of other guys in the trade are all about, is like helping each other out. You know, Dad always taught me a couple of things. One, do the best job you can. It doesn't matter what you're doing, do the best job you can. And I always try and take that. And then the other thing too is when you do a good floor, that sells 10 more. He's like, it doesn't matter who does that good floor. If the people that are your competition are doing a good floor, that'll sell 10. And you know what? They might get 6 and I might get 2 of those. So they're selling jobs for me. So we all should do the best job that we can and sort of work together to achieve that. And I think that's what I love about this industry, the polished concrete industry, is, yeah, we all work together. That's great.
Very good, guys. Very good.
Should we wrap it up with a little bit of a 2 truths, 1 lie? Dale, we do this at the end when we have special guests like yourself. So, yeah, if you could give us 2 truths and 1 lie, hopefully not in that order, and then we'll go around the squares and, we'll take a guess at what one's the lie.
So when I got to this job this week, I decided to leave the big block 820 on the truck, and I actually pulled out my HTC 420 to do a bit of first cut grinding. That was really good. Yeah, and then... I guess the next thing I need to say is that my e-bike's actually a Santa Cruz, so I don't want to be all up about this. And it's a bit of a flash girl. I guess the other thing is too, you know, like I really love my trucks, and I'm a big Mitsubishi supporter of trucks. So
I think I know what it is.
Go for it, Josh.
I don't think you have a Santa Cruz.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Nice. Good guess, Josh.
The HTC 420, the original grinder that we've had for 20 years. Yeah, she's a good girl. Bit of XO30s under her and some water and some cut stick, and it's a narrow piece of concrete.
I was going to say, when are we big blocking that for you?
It was good.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you 2 truths and 1 lie. I don't like beer. I don't like beer. I do like beer on a Friday afternoon. That's 2 lies and 1 truth.
Yeah, I'm like, there's too much nuts for a Friday.
Mate, cannot thank you enough, Dale. It's always great to have great guests on, mate, and you're certainly one of those. And as I say, I've got the pleasure of catching up with you a few times every month, and it's always a pleasure doing that as well, mate. So thank you very much again for your time. A big shout out to Craig, of course, and I hope he gets onto this and gives us a good look for us. And thanks again, mate. I'm really great to have you.
Nah, thanks very much, guys. It's a real pleasure to be involved in Tech Talks. I've listened to a lot, and yeah, it is a real pleasure to be involved.
Thanks, Johnny. Have a great weekend.
Have a good one.
Thanks, Dale.
Thanks, guys.
The meeting winning.
That's a lie.
That's all the credit we have left.
Let's do it. Let's go.
Let's put more money into this thing.